Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning to all my readers, my leaders, and my future leaders. Welcome to Readers Are Leaders. Um, my name is Tanya Finney Estrada. I am the director of the Pennsauken Free Public Library, and I just wanted to welcome you to our special celebration to celebrate Black History Month. Our special event is Readers Are Leaders, where we welcome Black community leaders to read to you, and we felt that the best way to celebrate Black History Month is to share the joy of reading with you all. So I'm so glad for you to join us today, and this is actually day two. We started this special program yesterday, and today is our day two and our final day. I'm very excited. We have uh, some readers that read yesterday. They're reading again today, and we also have some new readers today. So share some news stories with you. So to get the ball rolling and to get the show started, because I know all you're very excited, as am I. I'm going to turn it over to Miss Lark as our first reader, and I just want to welcome the Pennsauken fourth and fifth grade. Give a shout out to them and welcome them to the Readers Are Leaders. Miss Lark, I'm gonna hand it over to you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm gonna put... I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. Oh, freedom. Good morning again. I hope everyone is up and ready for a new day. I'm excited. My name is Mrs. Lark, and I will be reading this particular book called Sweet Clara and the Freedom Quilt. And hopefully everyone can see the book. And this book is about the Underground Railroad. And we already know that the Underground Railroad is not a real train. It's actually people who have helped assist the slaves, the enslaved people, to get to freedom. So this is an underground story, and it's about a quilt. And a quilt is something like a blanket. It's like a bedspread that you make. You stitch together the squares together, and they're called blocks. So I'm going to tell you this story, and I just want you to sit back, relax, and listen to the story. Okay, today's story is going to start off with Sweet Clara and the Freedom Quilt. And it's going to start off with these characters. Clara, and young Jack. Does everybody see that? So you can see what they look like. Okay, before I was even 12 years old, I got sent from the North Farm to the home plantation because they needed another field hand. When I got there, I cried so much they thought I was never going to eat or drink again. I didn't want to leave my mama. I'm going back to her, I whispered every day to young Jack, who worked beside me in the fields. Well, you better start eating all you can, Sweet Clara, he smiled at me. But then his smile was gone. In a low voice, he said, or else you won't make it. Young Jack helped me believe I'd get back to my mama someday. Truth was, I'd be lost before I got through the fields, them being so big and all. But I never gave up dreaming. Aunt Rachel was raising me now. Let me show you what Aunt Rachel looks like. And hopefully you can see Aunt Rachel and Clara. Aunt Rachel was raising me now. She wasn't my real aunt, but she did the best she could to take care of me. One night, she came back from working in the big house and found me lying dead tired on the cabin floor. She shook her head and said, Sweet Clara, you ain't going to last in them fields. But I got an idea. Aunt Rachel's idea was sewing, and she started teaching me the very next night. It wasn't easy for me to learn. My hands already rough and clumsy from hoeing and weeding the fields. So Aunt Rachel took it real slow. She brought scraps of cloth from the big house and taught me about each one, how it was special and had to be treated in its own way. I like to piece the scraps together to make pretty patterns of colors, but Aunt Rachel didn't care so much about my patterns. Tomorrow, you coming with me to the big house. I got it all worked out, Aunt Rachel said one day. I was frightened. You ready to sew with me? She went on. Because Mrs. daughter, Ella, be getting married come spring, and I told Mrs. I'd be needing some help. She looked at your work with sharp eyes, Claire, so do it quick and neat like I taught you. Next morning, I tried to eat some cornbread, but my insides was all knotted up. I'd never been inside the big house before, or even seen white people that close, except the overseer. The morning sun was streaming into the sewing room, turning everything yellow. Aunt Rachel gave me some sheets to hem. Instead of being contrary, that needle did all I wanted it to do. At the end of the day, the missus come in. Let me see your work, Clara, she say. I gave her the sheet, and she ran it through her hands real slow. I held my breath watching. From now on, she said, you can go to the big house. When she left, Aunt Rachel and I looked at each other. We was about ready to burst. We did it. We did it. We were so excited. So I changed from a field hand to a seamstress. Since the sewing was right off the kitchen, Aunt Rachel and I was near the cook and the helpers. There were lots of bustles and companies in the kitchen. I was hearing all about all kinds of new places and things. I listened so hard, it felt like my ears must be growing right out of my head. One day, two white men come in to see the master. The drivers went into the kitchen to talk to the cook. They've been too many runaways last summer, one of the drivers said. They going around asking all the masters in the country to join the patty rollers. Well, the patty rollers are people to go around and patrol the areas to make sure that the slaves aren't escaping. Crazy, running away, muttered Cook as she beat up the batter. Where you gonna get? Where you gonna get to? Set lost in them swamps. Don't know, said the other. But I hear we ain't that far from the Ohio River. Once you get that far, the Underground Railroad will carry you across the river. That's right, agreed the first. The railroad will get you all the way to Canada. Then you'll be free forever. Walking back from the big house that evening, I asked Aunt Rachel about what I heard. Where's Canada? The Underground Railroad, she said, see there, Aunt Rachel pointed? That's the North Star. Under the star, far north, is Canada. The Underground Railroad is people who be helping folks to get there. She looked at me real hard. But don't you start thinking about it, because if you run away and get caught, you're going to be beaten. Still, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Next day, I asked the cook, those two men that was here yesterday, they was talking about a map. What's a map? Oh, it's just a picture of the land, that's all. Whatever is on the ground, a map can have it too. Sunday, I went to my favorite place on the little hill, and I looked out at the people's cabin and the fields. I took a stick and started making a picture in the dirt of all the things I could see. But how can I make a picture of things that far away I couldn't see? And how can I make a map that wouldn't be washed away by the rain? A map that would show the way to freedom. So this is Clara thinking about drawing her map. So you know what I did? I started making a quilt. When you're sewing, no matter how careful you be, little scraps of cloth always be left after you do a dress or a pillowcase. So while my ears kept listening to the people, my hands kept sewing, and then I began to make this cloth. When we were off work, I went to visit the people in the quarters. The people in the quarters is where you lived. I started asking what fields was where. Then I started piecing the scrap of cloth with the scraps of things I was learning. Aunt Rachel said, Sweet Claire, what kind of pattern you making in that quilt? Ain't no pattern I've ever seen before. I don't know, Aunt Rachel. I'm just patching it together as I go. She looked at me real long and hard, but she just nodded. There was a buzzing in the quarters one summer evening. I saw the patty rollers and I knew someone had run away. Guess who it was? It was young Jack. But 5 days later, they caught him. The next Sunday, I went to see him, and we walked to the top of the little hill. He didn't smile like he used to smile. I took a stick, and I began to draw on the dirt. I drew a little square for a big house, a line of boxes for the cabins of the quarters. And then I did some bigger squares for the fields east of the big house. I drew as much as I pieced together. Jack sat beside me. He still didn't say anything. He wasn't even looking. Then he started seeing what I was doing. So I handed him the stick. I hear him catch his breath up quick. Then he begins to draw. So this is Jack and Rachel. I worked on the quilt for a long time. Sometimes months would go by and I wouldn't get any pieces sewn in. The quilt got bigger and bigger, and if folks knew what I was doing, no one said a word. But then they would come by the sewing room to pass the time by whenever they could, and they would give me hints about how I can get to freedom. They would say things like, "By the way, Clara, I heard the master say yesterday he didn't want to travel to Mr. Morris's place because it's over 20 miles north from here." Or someone will be sitting eating cook's food and say, "I heard word is they're going to plant corn in the 3 west fields on the Verona plantation this year." When the master went out hunting, Cook's husband was the guide. He would come back and say, "That swamp next to home plantation is a nasty place. But listen up, Claire, and I'll tell you how I thread my way in and out of there as smooth as you can." And home place. Then one night, the quilt was done. I looked at it and I spread it out in the dim light of the cabin. Aunt Rachel studied it for a long time. She took the stitches lightly, her fingers moving slowly over the last piece I'd added, which was a hidden boat that would carry us across the Ohio River. Finally, they came to rest on the bright stars at the top. She tried to make her voice cheery. She always did like to make patterns and pictures, Clara. "You get yourself married to young Jack one of these days, and you two will have a real nice quilt to sleep under." "Aunt Rachel, I couldn't sleep under this quilt," I answered softly, putting my hands over hers. "It wouldn't be restful. Anyway, I think it should stay here. Maybe others can use it as their guide to freedom." Aunt Rachel sighed. "But ain't you going to need this quilt where you going?" I kissed her. "Don't worry, Aunt Rachel. I got the memory in my head." It rained hard for 3 days the next week. Me and Jack, we left home plantation in a dark thunderstorm. The day after, it was too stormy to work in the fields, so Jack wouldn't be missed. And Aunt Rachel told everybody I was sick. So we decided we was going to leave. We went north, following the trail of the Freedom Quilt. All the things that people told me about, the teeny stitches I took, now I could see real things. There was an old tree struck down by lightning, the winding road near the creek that God had told us about, the hunting path through the swamp. It was like being in a dream you already had dreamed. Mostly we hid during the day and then we went out at night. When we got to the North Farm, Jack slipped in through the darkness to find my cabin that my mama was on. Then we went in to get her, and I found a little sister I didn't even know I had. Mama was so surprised. "Sweet Clara, you done grown so big." Her eyes just like I remember, her arms strong around me. "Mama, I'm here for you. We going north. We know the way." I was afraid they wouldn't come, but then Mama said yes. Young Jack carried my sister Anna, and I held onto Mama's hand. We kept on as fast as we could, skirting through the farms and towns and making our way through the woods. At last, one clear, dark night, we come to the Ohio River. The river was so high, but I remembered the place on the quilt where I marked the crossing. We searched the brush along the banks until at last we found the little boat. "This was hid here by the folks in the Underground Railroad," I said. The boat carried us across the dark, deep water to the other side. Shivering and hungry and scared, we stood looking ahead. "Which way now?" Jack said. I pointed. The North Star was shining clear above us, up there through the woods, north toward Canada. Sometimes I think back to the night we left when young Jack came to wake me. I can still see Aunt Rachel sitting up in her bed. She just shook her head before I could say a word. "Before you go, just cover me with your quilt, sweet Clara," she said. "I'm too old to walk, but not too old to dream. And maybe I can help others follow the quilt to freedom." This was her Aunt Rachel. Clara and Jack. Aunt Rachel kept her word. The quilt is still there, hanging up at home plantation. People go by and look at it, even from the neighboring farms. Those people that's trying to escape their freedom. I know because some of them come and tell me how they used it to get free. But not all of us are lucky as we were, and most never could do it. Sometime I wish I could sew a quilt that would spread over the whole land and the people could follow the stitches and come to freedom as easy as taking a Sunday walk. That is the story of Sweet Clara and the Freedom Quilt. I think the librarian has a picture of the quilt that I'm talking about. She can show it. This is the quilt. And on the top right hand, you'll see what looks like scribbles. And that's called a tumbling block. And I want to use this quilt to explain to you that in life, you're going to have some falls. You're going to tumble. But it's what you do, it's how you react. So what you have to do is dust your pants off and get back up and keep on moving, because things are going to happen to you in life. And you have to learn to deal with it and keep on moving. The next thing is called a monkey wrench, because in life, you're going to think you have everything together. I got it. I'm going to pass this. I'm going to do that. And then it might be a question on the test that you hadn't studied for. That's called a monkey wrench. That's an obstacle. But you can overcome that because you just think about all the things you've already learned and you put it together. And the other thing on this right-hand side for me, which is probably your left, is the wagon wheel. It looks like a flower. And the wagon wheel represents that you're going to have to pack up. You're going to have your tools. Gather all your tools. And what do they mean by tools in life? Tools are things that's going to help you get a job. You're going to have really good communication. You're going to have to dress appropriately. You should always be respectful, look good, clean, and neat, and professional. Those are the tools that you're going to need. And you're going to have to be able to write and speak, because people are going to take you. You're going to have to actually do an interview. Okay, underneath that is called bear paws for tracking. And again, you're going to have to track your success and track the things that you want to do in life. Start writing them down. Keep a journal. The next thing is called a basket, and you're going to have to be able to have a basket to put everything that you get, everything you've learned, you've gathered. You can put it in this basket. And the last one, that's brown and white. That's called crossroads, because you are going to have some crossroads in life. And in closing, I actually want to show you what the real blanket looks like, if I can. And this is called a quilt. And it's not Sarah's quilt, it's Miss Lark's quilt. And these, hopefully you can see. And it's big, it's a big quilt. And it keeps me nice and warm. So I want to thank you for allowing me the opportunity to read to you. And I'm going to end with some music. Okay, thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you, Miss Lark. I'm just gonna check the comment page to see if we have any questions. We did have one question. Someone asked, "Is the quilt soft?"
Actually, it is. It is, and it's very warm.
We did have a question. Is there a meaning to each one? I think you went over that.
Well, actually, there is a meaning for each one in terms of the Underground Railroad. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is. Like we have different. The first three I went over. That was correct about the tumbling blocks and the monkey wrench and the transportation, and the crossroads, the basket, and the bear's paws for tracks. They're actually used for the there were it was information to get us to the next level. So they would see this. So sometimes they would actually see a blanket in front of people's houses, and they knew that that was a safe place. There were quilts that people that were helping the slaves, they would put them over top of their porch, and that people knew that that was a safe place to go. So we used that as a hidden secret, these quilts as well.
I'm checking any more comments.
Yeah. And while you're doing that, down the bottom was the boat they talked about and the North Star.
Oh, okay, let me see. The question was this the same quilt on the wall behind you?
No, what's on the
Okay.
wall? What's on the wall is an actual shield that I got from Africa and Tanzania. That's a shield that the I can't think of the particular tribe we visited, but they actually had those, and we purchased one when we were in Africa, when we traveled to Africa.
And another question was, I'm not sure if you answered this. Where did you get your quilt? It's cool.
Oh, my girlfriend made it, Karen Bullock. Some people may know her in the community. She's from Palmyra, and she knows I like to do underground stories. So I asked her if she would make me a quilt, and she did. And on the quilt has all the symbols that they used to escape.
Another question I think from Jonathan: are there replicas of the quilt?
Yes, there's many. There's if you go online and look up Underground Railroad quilts, you'll see many. I think one is called Miss G's. She's like famous. Her quilts are actually in museums, and they're huge. So quilting is a big thing in for the Underground Railroad and other nationalities too. They do all kinds of quilts to represent their culture. So quilting is just a way to express yourself. But they're blocks. They're done blocks, one at a time.
Another question: is the quilt is the quilt like this? Would it be available to buy? Can someone purchase a quilt like this?
Yes. They a lot of times if you go to
probably Etsy or something like that, or
yeah, I was gonna say Etsy or go online and just type in quilts, and you'll find Amazon. I'm sure they have quilts. Yeah, you definitely can buy them. But we also know I prefer that. I know during Black History Month, when outside the pandemic, they have vendors be at different events and stuff, and they will have you may be able to purchase a quilt at some of those events. I know every year in April at the convention center in Philadelphia, they have a Black Expo, and you'll see different vendors there, and you may find a quilt there as well. But yeah, they're all over.
another question was, how did your friend make the quilt?
I don't know. I know it took her a long time. It took her a long time because it's a lot of stitching, and even she even put the Underground Railroad story in there. Can they see that? You see that block?
Yeah, somewhat. Yeah, that's a good angle.
Yeah. So she even stitched words uh, as well, which I thought was really nice, and that explains exactly what the Underground Railroad, what all the symbols mean, and I thought that was very nice. So it took her, months to do it.
And I think we have one more question. It was like, how many of the quilts are there of the quilt that you have? So I don't know if they meant how many blocks are on that quilt, or how many quilts you have all together.
Yeah, I only have the one, but there's 12, I believe. 3, 6, 9, 12. Yeah, there are 12. There are 12 blocks, but I only have the one, and I do take it uh, around when I do my Black History programs to explain the quilt.
And we have one more time for one more question.
Oh, I love it. I'm so excited.
This is unrelated to the quilt. It's what are those masks on your wall?
Oh, again, I've traveled to four different. I've traveled to four different parts of Africa. I've been to Ghana. I've been to Egypt. I've been to Tanzania, and I've been to Cape Town, South Africa. So I try to hit all four continents, and so I bring back artifacts from those places. If you might be able to see some of the things on my wall. So a lot of people say, "Oh, this looks like a museum." I even have the king's chair from Ghana. I don't think that's a good picture, but you'll see a mask as well. So yeah, I love Africa.
And there was clarification on Clara's comment. She said I meant how many were made. I guess how many quilts were made. Um, I guess your friend, how many did she make?
Oh, has she made?
Yeah.
Not many, because it is very time consuming. Not many, but it is very time consuming. Yes.
The library has last year or year before, I can't remember with this pandemic, we did for Black History Month, we did a freedom quilt as part of a program, and we had everyone do their own little patch and
Mm-hmm.
put together on one um, big piece of fabric. And we actually have it hanging. Unfortunately, no one can really. Well, you can see it if you come and pick up a book, but we actually have it hanging up in the library near the lobby. Um, Okay. Oh, one other question. It says is quilts made of silk?
They can be, probably. This one isn't. This is more fabric. Looks like the back side look like almost like burlap. That kind of so for the to hold the quilt together. So it feels like burlap, but yeah. But you could probably do it with silk.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Miss Lark. This was wonderful. Again, the book was called Sweet Clara and the Freedom Quilt by Deborah Hopkinson. And that book is available at the library for you to check out. The library is open for pickup. Um, so if you want this book, just call us, or you can also reserve the book online. If you go to penstalkinlibrary.org and you click on our catalog, you can also reserve this book. All you need is your library card, and of course, the library card is free. So a lot of the books that's going to be read today are available at the library if anyone is interested to check them out. So I want to thank Miss Lark once again.
No
Um,
problem. Also, I just want to share with them, the library has a lot of books about the Underground Railroad as well. And
yes,
uh, so definitely, if you don't have a card, get a card, because the library is a wealth of information about all cultures. So
and
thank you very much.
one thing I do want to mention, Marilyn, since you here, um, we I don't know if I have it up, but there is I don't have the flyer up on my screen. But this Saturday, you're doing a virtual
Yes, doing.
storytelling. Can you tell everyone a little bit about that?
Yes, I'm doing. I wish I had the book. It's a book called Graham's Gift, and it's a wonderful story, and it's about um, an enslaved person that was right here from New Jersey, Burlington, New Jersey. So I'm excited to share that story, because a lot of people don't associate with slavery in New Jersey, and it definitely was here. In fact, we were one of the last states to end slavery. So yeah, come on by 11 o'clock. I'm sure she's going to post the picture. And if not, check out the library's Facebook page. It should be
Yeah,
there.
check out the library Facebook page or check out our website, penstalkinlibrary.org, and click on events. The Zoom link to register is right on there. But if you have any questions and you can't find information, just call the library 856-665-5959. But that performance will be 11 o'clock this Saturday via Zoom.
Yeah, Black History Program.
Thank
Thank you,
you,
guys.
everyone.
Have a good
Bye.
one. Hotep.
So we have our next reader, um, Mr. Bernard Henderson. He's next up, and he's going to be reading, I think. Well, I mean, to everyone. Everyone's here. Everyone's invited. But I know it's our second and third grade, so I wanted to give a shout out to our second and third grade. And I'm going to introduce Mr. Henderson.
Good
Hello.
morning, everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
So I just introduced you. I said you're our next reader. And to readers or leaders, everyone. Our next reader is Mr. Henderson, and I'm going to I'm gonna leave, and I'm gonna let you take over.
Very good. Okay. Good morning, kids. I'm going to read you a story today about a young man. His name is Troy Andrews, but his nickname is Trombone Shorty. And I have to tell you, I'd never heard of him until I got this book to read, and it's very interesting. It's a book about music, and I love music, as most of you do. And clearly, Trombone Shorty also loved music. Now, they have a saying in New Orleans, where he's from, and it's called, "Where you at? Where you at?" They have their own way of talking down there. You know, when you want to say, "Hey, how are you?" or "Where are you going?" they say, "Hey, where you at?" Look, now, lots of kids have nicknames, and some of you probably do. But Trombone Shorty wants to tell you how he got his nickname. And just like his favorite song, he must begin at the beginning. He said, before you can understand how much music means to him, you must know how important the place where he grew up means to him. He grew up in New Orleans, which is really a city known for music. He grew up in a neighborhood called Treme. He said at any time, night or day, you could hear music through the streets, just like balloons in the air. Try and show you this book here, if you can see it. Yeah, just like balloons in the air. He said you can hear music all the time in Treme. He said also, not only was there music in the street, but there was music in his house. His big brother James played the trumpet, and he played it pretty loud. In fact, he said you could hear him halfway across town. Now, Treme was not a large place. In fact, it was less than a mile one way and less than a mile this way. But it had a population of about 4,000 people. And everyone sort of knew each other. You know, it was that kind of community there where everyone was friendly. Everyone knew each other's name. They knew each other's cousins and relatives and sisters and brothers. Now, James had a trumpet. This is Trombone Shorty's brother. He played it so loud, and as he played, Trombone Shorty would pretend to play along with him, though he didn't even have an instrument. I hope you can see that. He's playing like he's playing a trombone. That's called imagination. That's called someone who's really is inspired to do something or be something. He said the best time of year, though, in his town or in New Orleans was during the Mardi Gras. Because at that time, parades and celebrations and singing and music filled the streets, and crowds filled the streets. Now, Mardi Gras, just so you know, is a French word for Fat Tuesday. And what that reflects is that it's the last night of eating before the celebration of Lent, which is a religious celebration where you fast from food, fast from things that maybe are a habit to you. And so they pick this day, Fat Tuesday, to eat the fattiest food they can find. They actually gorged themselves with food before they went on this fast. And most of you may not know what a fast is, but it is to abstain from eating. That's why they called breakfast actually breaking the fast. because we go for 8 or 9 hours of sleep without eating. Anyway, Trombone Shorty said he loved the brass bands with their own trumpets and trombones and saxophones and the big brass instruments. And as well, this big giant thing that hung on someone's back called a tuba, looked like an elephant trunk. Let me show you the pictures here. Can anyone out there play an instrument? He says, where you at? Where you at? This is what all the musicians would call. All day long doing Mardi Gras, doing the night before Fat Tuesday. The brass band would begin to parade the streets, and they would pass by his house. His neighbors and all would be singing. And he loved these parades during the Mardi Gras. He said, for just a moment, there's just that period of time, everyone forgot about their troubles. They forgot about their bills. They forgot about the school. They forgot about the things that they had to do or the things they didn't want to do. And I know we can relate to that. You know, when they closed the school because of snow, you know, and we can do what we want to do that day. Well, Mardi Gras is even better than that. Trombone Shorty said, I listened to these sounds and I mixed them together in my music, just like we make our food. They have a food called gumbo, where they take anything of meat they can find in the kitchen, be fish, beef, sausages, chicken, whatever, and they mix it all together in a pot. He said that it is the most delicious thing you ever want to have. And actually, that is the origination of jazz. Jazz is sort of a mixture of musicians. Sometimes, to the untrained ear, it sounds like they're not playing the same song, but believe me, they are. In the end, they all come together, and it is a wonderful sound. Jazz got started in New Orleans in the late 1800s. And this is him here fixing some gumbo. Yes. I've never had gumbo, but I think there's too many meats for me to eat. He said, but first, before I could really get going with the band, I needed an instrument. He said, but the fun thing about music is that you really don't have to have a real instrument to play. He would just play his fingers. He would pretend like he had a horn, and he would just play it. He had a lot of imagination. He said, now we might not have sounded like a real band, but we felt the greatest musicians in Treme. That's how we felt, like we were the best things going. We were making music, he says, and that's all that mattered. We made music to the beat and even more to the sound. And to us, it was perfect. But finally, with the real instrument in our hand, this is what we needed to do. We needed to really find an instrument that we could really play. He said, and one day, I found a trombone. It was all beat up. It didn't look like it could really play. It didn't look like it could be give you perfect sound. He said, but it was a real instrument. And he took it up. He said the next time the parade went by his door, he grabbed his trombone, ran the street, and started playing along with them. Here he is here, playing his trombone, walking with the people. Must have been fun just to walk out of your front door, you know, and just jump right into something that you love to do. Trombone Shorty, he called out his brother. His brother said, what are you doing? Because the trombone was twice his size. And remember, this trombone Shorty at this time was 4 years old. And the trombone was twice as big as he was, twice as big. Where you at, Shorty Trombone? From that day on, everyone called him Trombone Shorty. He said, I took my trombone everywhere I went. My mother took me someplace, I took it with me. If I went to school, I took it with me. I put it in my locker. He said, I even took it to bed. I would not go to sleep with it. I love my trombone. He said, my brother played his songs, and I just learned. I taught myself playing my trombone. But even so, I love it so much, I took it to bed with me. See him there in the bed with his trombone? Yes. I'm not sure how his mother felt about that. Anyway, he says one day his mother surprised him with tickets to the New Orleans Jazz Festival, the biggest musical festival in town. He said, we went to see an artist named Bo Diddley, who my mom loved Bo Diddley. He said, and as I watched on the stage, I raised my trombone and put my lips to the thing and started playing out loud. And Bo Diddley stopped the band in the middle of playing and said, who's playing out there? Who is that playing? Where are you? Where you at? Everyone started pointing towards me, but they couldn't see me because I was so little. So my mother lifted me up and said, this is my son, Trombone Shorty. And Bo Diddley said, well, Trombone Shorty, come on up here. Here it is here, here's Bo Diddley. And he's asking Trombone Shorty to come on up out of that crowd. So the crowd passed him over the head, from one person to another, because the crowd was so dense he couldn't walk up there. So they passed him over the crowd, all the way up on the stage. He was standing right next to Bo Diddley himself. And he didn't waste any time. He walked up right up to the mic. And Bo Diddley said, well, what shall we play? Or Trombone Shorty said, what shall we play? And Bo Diddley said, follow me. So he played and played and played. And I like to think he played that song, oh, when the saints come marching in. Oh, when the saints go marching in. Forgive me. Anyway, he played with Bo Diddley. I knew that it was the best time for me. He said, and I knew from that time on that I could have my own band. I was ready to play on myself and have my own band going. He says, and I got my own band, and we called ourselves the 5 o'clock band, because we would meet every day at 5 o'clock after we did our chores and finished our homework. We would meet at 5 p.m. and start playing our songs. He said, we played all around New Orleans. I practiced and practiced and practiced, and soon my brother James asked me to even join his band. When people wondered who this kid was, my big brother said, hey, this is my little brother, Trombone Shorty. Where you at? Where you at? He says, and now I have my own band called Trombone Shorty and Orleans Avenue, named after a street in Treme. I've played all around the world now, but I always come back home to New Orleans. And when I'm home, I make sure to keep my eyes open on the younger musicians in town, because I want to help them the same way my big brother helped me. Today, he says, I play at the same New Orleans Jazz Festival where I first met and played with Bo Diddley. And when the performance ends, I lead a parade through the streets with musicians around me and people gathered around me, just like they used to do in the streets of Treme with my friends. Where you at? Where you at? That was the cry. Here he is. Here's a picture of him playing in the streets at 4 years old. I hope you can see that. 4 years old, playing in the streets of Treme. And here he is here when he was on stage with Bo Diddley. The kid's he's 4, just before his 5th birthday. So he's very little, and he's been playing that trombone now for over 30 years. And here's a picture of him now, fully grown, still playing his trombone. And I have to tell you, I never heard of Trombone Shorty until I was asked to read this book to you. And I tell you, I was amazed and surprised that I had never heard of him. And from my understanding, he even played at the White House not too long ago. And if possible, um, Miss Tanya is going to play that for you, so you can see him actually live and actually doing something with his trombone. Hey, it's been my pleasure reading to you. I hope I didn't I didn't bother you too much, but that you enjoyed the story as I did. Now let's try to enjoy this here film or short clip of Trombone Shorty playing at the White House. We'll try to get that going soon.
Yep. I'm gonna get it going. Just give me 1 second.
Okay. We are working on it. Stay with us. Hope everybody's enjoying school, or at least I know it's. I actually work at a school, in fact, um, helping children with their homework, with their skills, with their Zooms that they have to do. And I know it's a little tough, but it's the way it is today. I can't hear the music.
I got a couple comments. I don't know. I think someone said it couldn't hear it.
I couldn't hear it.
You couldn't hear it? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry, everyone. I can. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share the link.
Okay.
Let me share the link to the video.
Okay.
I'm gonna put
Could
that.
you hear it, Tanya?
Mhm.
Could you hear it?
I heard it on my end, and then what I did was I added. That's why I added myself to the stream, hoping that the sound from me playing it would work.
Right.
It didn't work, so I did. Hey, trial and error. It's live, everyone. So
There you go.
yeah. So I did post the link in the chat for anyone to view the video. Unfortunately, y'all couldn't hear it, but I could, and it was fantastic. So
I wish I had thought of this a week ago.
but it was great. But I did leave the link in the chat, and for anyone that want to go see it. But I do recommend go to view the video. It's fantastic.
Amen. All right. All right. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Henderson. That story was fantastic. Actually, I learned a lot myself. I was not aware of his story. It's like to learn more. And I just want to let everyone know once again that book, Trombone Shorty, is available at the library. So if you're interested, check it out. We have it here. I want to thank you, and I just want to check and see if there's any comments. We do have about 5 minutes. Do you have any comments or questions? They want to ask. Oh, let me double check. I have 2 comments.
Okay.
Yeah, most of the, sorry, everyone said they couldn't hear the video, but like I said, we have so they listen to it later, and like I said, I recommend to listen to it later. Did anyone have any comments or questions? I know there's a 10 second delay from YouTube and Facebook, so I'll give you 2 seconds. That's the thing about streaming live. There is a delay.
Right.
And I'm ashamed. It's a shame we couldn't. Y'all couldn't listen to it. There's a lot of comments. My students really like the story. A lot of thank yous. With the story. Thank you, Lisa, Brenda. Thank you, everyone. Jessica. And thank you, second and third grade. Thank you for joining us today. Thank Mr. Henderson again. Thank you for spending the day with us. Thank you for celebrating Black History Month with us. Thank you for being a reader and also a leader in our community. This is actually our 2nd year doing Readers Are Leaders. We're hoping to do this every year. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, we had to do it virtually, but the plus side of doing it virtually is that we're able to reach a more broader audience. Normally, we just pick a school and we read there, but now we're able to spread the joy of reading to all of you today. So this is fantastic. Once again, and I just tell everyone, stay tuned for our next reader, which will be me. And I did plan on showing the video, but now that may not work. But we'll see what happens. But stay tuned in a few minutes for our next reader, which is me, like I said, and that's Kay in 1st grade. But like I said, we're spreading the love to everyone. And I'll be back in 1 minute. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to Readers Are Leaders. My name is Tanya Finney Estrada. I am the director of the Pennsauken Free Public Library. And just like you have your school library, you also have a public library. And your public library serves all the residents of Pennsauken. Therefore, we are your neighborhood library. And one thing we're doing this month, because it is February, we are celebrating Black History Month. And what better way to celebrate Black History Month is to share the joy of reading with all of you today. So we have this program called Readers Are Leaders, and it's actually our second year doing this program. Initially, it started last year, and where I gather our Black community leaders and go to a school. We'll choose a school. Last year was Carson. And this year we had planned to choose another elementary school, and where we go in that school and we just read and share stories, celebrating Black voices of the past and present, and sharing it with all of you. But due to the pandemic, we cannot do this program in person and in the schools. So we decided to do it virtually. Now, the benefit of doing it virtually is that we were able to not just read at one school, but we were able to share the joy of reading to all the schools and to everyone that's able to see this live broadcast today. So this is actually day 2 of our readers, our leaders, and I'm actually broadcasting live from the Pennsauken Public Library. I'm in my office right now, so I'm live, which is also exciting. So today I want to give out my special shout out to my kindergarten and first grade, to all my kindergarten and first grade. Hello, welcome. Welcome to all my readers once again, all my leaders, and to all my future leaders. I welcome you today. So today I am going to read. This is my time to read. And I'm going to read a story about Shirley Chisholm. Shirley Chisholm was a doer. She was a game changer. She was a voice of freedom fighter. There's so many words to describe her, so many verbs to describe her also. And that's kind of the point of where I'm getting at with this story. But she was a force to reckon with. And a lot of the programs that we benefit today, she started those programs. So I just want to share this a story about her life. I had a video I wanted to share, but when I shared the video with the story with Mr. Bernard Henderson, the sound didn't come through. So I'm gonna try it again, see what happens. And like I said, it is live, and it's things like this do happen. So good morning, Tara. So I just want to go say good morning to my first grade class. They're watching from Carson, from Franklin, everyone. Good morning. Hello, welcome. So I'm gonna start reading my book. It's called Shirley Chisholm is a Verb. And I'm still getting used to this camera right here, but there's a glare right there, but that's the cover. And it's written by Veronica Chambers. Shirley Chisholm is a Verb. So when reading this book, and I know this is my first grade and kindergarten class, there's words, what we call verbs, and they're action words that's going to be highlighted in the story. Because I remember she's a doer. Okay, she was a person of action. So there's a lot of verbs mentioned in this story, and I'm going to point them out. And I know that you don't start getting into verbs until maybe second grade or so, but this is just an early lesson in verbs. So I'm going to, when I see them and note them out, I'm going to point them out and probably repeat them. So you'll understand this is a verb, it's an action word. And all these words describe Shirley Chisholm. her life was amazing, amazing, amazing person. So let's get started. Hello, Miss Bowen's kindergarten class. Hello. So Shirley Chisholm is a verb. And right here, I don't know if you can see, pointed out here. Connect. See the words highlighted. They're the verb words. So they're the ones I'm going to make like emphasis on them when I say them, okay? Some words, when they connect with the right people, become almost like potions or spells. These words become magical. That's the way it was with Congressman Shirley Chisholm. And verbs. She understood almost intuitively, how and why verbs are not just words about being, but doing. Verbs are words that move the world forward. Shirley's family understood all about moving. As you can see, her mother was from Barbados, an island in the Caribbean. Her father was from Guyana, a country in South America. They moved to New York City, where Shirley was born. When Shirley was 3, her mother sent her and her sisters to Barbados so their parents could work more hours. And that was common. Her mother cleaned houses and office buildings. Her father worked in a factory. They worked all day and all night because they dreamed of buying a home for their family in the United States. In Barbados, surrounded by her grandmother, aunts, and uncles, little Shirley worked hard too. Her classroom was noisy, and the 3 teachers that shared the room, imagine 3 teachers sharing the same classroom, needed to project to be heard above all the passionate students. But her teachers taught Shirley how to speak up, and they helped her understand the power of words. Later, she would say, if I speak and if I read and write easily, that early education is the cause. When she was 9, Shirley and her sisters moved back from Barbados to Brooklyn. Everything in Brooklyn was different, and Shirley missed the warm island weather. But Shirley loved the indoor activities, like going to the movies and reading. Shirley was a voracious reader, much like her father. Shirley was also a dedicated student at her high school in Brooklyn. She was vice president of the Junior Artistic Honor Society and a graduate with a Medal of Excellence in French. She earned scholarships to both Vassar and Oberlin colleges. But her parents could not afford the room and board. Shirley decided to go to Brooklyn College instead and live at home in the brownstone her parents was ultimately able to buy through their hard work. In college, Shirley decided to pursue a career in education. She became a nursery school teacher and then earned her master's degree. Completing her education was hard work, but it paid off. She directed daycare centers and became a consultant to the city on early education. She helped implement and organize a program called Head Start, which helped 3 and 5-year-olds get ready for kindergarten. But Shirley wanted to help even more people. She believed that service to others is the rent you pay for your room on earth, which is another way to say that she wanted to use her verb and improve the lives as many people as she could, just like her parent and her teachers have improved her own. She decided to go into politics. She ran and won a seat on the New York State Assembly. The Assembly makes decisions for people all over the state of New York. She was the first, she was one of the first people to argue that New York State literacy tests not be conducted only in English. New York was the home to people from all over the world, and Shirley thought it was important to honor the native languages of all the state's citizens. From her work in New York state government, she was awarded the Salute to Women Doers Award. She was always a doer. Then Shirley ran for the United States Congress, the part of the government that makes decisions for people all over the world. It was a race few thought she could win. But Shirley believed if your heart told you it was the right thing to do, you should always listen. She knew she could only fail if she didn't try. She campaigned. Meaning she encouraged people to vote for her. Her slogan was unbought and unbossed. I love that slogan myself. She wanted the people to know that she would never choose money or power over what was important to them. She campaigned both in English and Spanish because she wanted as many people as possible to understand her message. In her speeches, she called herself Fighting Shirley Chisholm because she wanted voters to know she wasn't afraid to stand up for what she believed in. The people of Brooklyn choose Shirley to represent them. Represent. She became the first Black woman ever elected to Congress. Shirley traveled. She's traveled to Washington, D.C. There wasn't a single person who looked like her. It was a lonely time. Being the first and only often is. But Shirley Chisholm wouldn't give up. We know she wouldn't. She thought of all the people back in Brooklyn who had voted for her. Shirley felt forever linked to them. She felt there's a duty. Even though she felt like she was the only one there that looked like her, she still had to represent. Shirley's first assignment in Congress was the House of Agriculture Committee, a group of people who oversees the farmlands of America. Shirley was disappointed. She came from a big city. How would working with farms help the people in Brooklyn who voted for her? She shared this question with her friend. He encouraged her to use her position on the committee to help feed the hungry all over, including her beloved Brooklyn. Shirley helped to initiate a program called WIC, which assists women, infants, and children in need of food. Shirley also helped create the National School Lunch Program, which all of us can relate. But she didn't decide the menus. So there's a disclaimer here. She didn't decide the menus. So if you don't like your lunch, please don't blame her. Because of her hard work, she eventually earned her dream job helping students and workers through the Education and Labor Committee. Shirley said, "You don't make progress by standing on the sidelines, whimpering and complaining." She said, If they don't give you a seat and a table, bring a folding chair. And Shirley wasn't just concerned about getting a seat at the table for herself. She never wanted to be the one and the only one. She helped create the Congressional Black Caucus so more Afro Americans could be elected to serve in Washington, D.C. She wanted Congress to look like the America that she had elected for. Not everyone in Washington applauds Shirley wins. She was always more interested in serving people than in making laws that help big businesses. The men on Capitol Hill who cared more about power and money said, "Go home, Shirley Chisholm." She replied, "I'm fighting Shirley Chisholm. You can't wish me away. You just can't." She remembered her impassioned teachers and her hardworking parents and gave her the spirit and the spunk to challenge the old traditions. She said, "I am not afraid of anything or anybody." Can you imagine her saying that? I can. So Shirley was so unafraid that in 1972, about 49 years ago, after 4 years in Congress, she decided to run for president. In 1972, Afro-American woman running for president? Unheard of, unthinkable. No one even think that would be possible. Before a large crowd of people, she announced, "I stand before you today as a candidate for the presidency of the United States of America." She was the first Black person and the first woman to make a serious bid for the presidency. Now, this is where I was going to show you all a video. There is a live video of her making this announcement. I'm going to show it maybe afterwards because I'm really uncertain if the video is going to come through. But we'll try it later. She said in her speech, "I am not the candidate for Black America, although I am Black and proud. I am not the candidate of the women's movement of this country, although I am a woman, and I am equally proud of that. I am the candidate of the people of America." Shirley crisscrossed the nation, giving speeches, debating candidates on television, and registering voters. She needed to convince, one of our verbs, the Democratic Party that she will be the best candidate for president. So let's see what happens. People had called Shirley Chisholm many things before, but now they say she was Black, beautiful, brave, brainy, bright, and believable. What do all these words have in common? The letter B, right? So it's Black, beautiful, brave, brainy, bright, believable. How about y'all say it together, okay? Black, beautiful, brave, brainy, bright, and believable. Some of the other candidates were angry that Shirley was taking votes away from them, but Shirley knew how to hold her ground. She said, "Excuse me, I have a right to be here. Pay attention. I got something to say." Or, "Listen, I got a job to do and I intend to do it." Do it. When people tried to silence her, Shirley spoke louder. When the media ignored her, Shirley protested. She protested vigorously. When other politicians tried to bully her, and we all don't like bullies, and unfortunately, there's adult bullies. Shirley stood stronger. When her opponents said hurtful things, Shirley smiled wider. And that's how sometimes you have to handle bullies. You have to stand up. If they still say hurtful things to you, just smile and walk away. Then Shirley heard that the Democrats had decided that she would not be their presidential candidate. Shirley was disappointed, but not discouraged. Shirley realized that just because she didn't win, it didn't mean that she lost. During her presidential bid, she had gained more delegates than many in the party expected. With each delegate that voted for her, she put a crack in the ceiling that separated women and men of color from the highest seat in the nation, the presidency. Some races are relays. We only need to run as far and as fast as we can. Shirley's verbs, her words, her actions planted the seed of possibility for others. "12 years later, Geraldine Ferrero would crack the ceiling further when she gained the Democratic nomination for vice president. 25 years after that, President Barack Obama was sent all the way to the White House. 7 years later, Hillary Ronald Clinton would put 18 million more cracks in the ceiling when the Democrats nominated her for president. And then in 2018, a record-breaking 131 women were elected to Congress. It is a number that would have made Shirley beam. Can you see Shirley smiling? Part of the congressional class of 2018 was a young woman named Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And I hope I pronounced her name right. Like Shirley, she was also known as a congresswoman from New York. Like Shirley, Alexandria did things her way, and she prioritized the people who had elected her and put their concerns first. Shirley Chisholm inspired her. On the first day of Congress, Alexandria said, "From surrogates to Shirley Chisholm, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the mothers of all the movement." She informed people in Washington that in the spirit of Shirley, she was fighting Alexandria and that she couldn't just wish her away. She couldn't. Shirley Chisholm once said, "The next time a woman of whatever color or a dark-skinned person of whatever sex aspires to be a president, the way should be a little smoother because I helped pave it." It was always her intention to throw the doors of government wide open, and she did. When Shirley retired from Congress after serving 7 consecutive terms in office, she said she wanted to be known for her courage to stand up for herself and the people who have elected her. She said, "I'd like them to say that Shirley Chisholm had guts." In 2015, President Barack Obama awarded Chisholm the Medal of Freedom. Shirley's great-nephew accepted the award on her behalf, speaking of her service to the nation and how tireless she was in her quest. President Obama said, there are people in our country's history who don't look like, there are people in our country history who don't look left or right. They look straight ahead. Shirley Chisholm was one of those people. So Shirley Chisholm accomplished so much because she chose her verbs carefully. So we got learn, negotiate, listen, stand, campaign, invite, debate, speak, my favorite, inspire, and represent. It's your turn now. What verbs would you choose? What verbs would you choose to describe you? That's a good question. And I said my favorite one is inspire. I love that one. So thank you everyone for joining me. This was fantastic. Thank you to our first grade and kindergarten class for spending this morning with me and reading the wonderful Shirley Chisholm. I have learned a lot about her also. I did know some of her life. I knew some of the programs that she started, like the lunch programs, but there was other things about her life I didn't know. But that's what happens when it comes. That happens when you read and when you explore. And remember, our history, our past is us. Because some people say, "Oh, why you read about people that's no longer here or history?" But they're a part of us, and sometimes that's what make us in some ways because we are our past. Okay, so I want to thank you all. We have our next reader coming up, and I don't know if I have any questions. Do I have any questions for my first or kindergarten class? I'm gonna wait a few minutes because, like I said, there is a 10-second delay if you're viewing this from YouTube or Facebook. But I'm just see if anyone have any questions. Thank you, Fine Elementary School. Thank you, Miss Avery. Del Air. Good morning. Thank you. I'm glad. Thank you, friends. I'm glad and I just want to say we all miss you. I know Miss Sabrina, Miss Susan, Miss Heather, even Miss Myra miss you all with the story times and coming in for different programs. We hope very soon to see all your lovely faces in person real soon. Thank you once again, Franklin School, Carson, Fine, Del Air. Did I mention all Del Air, Carson, Fine, Franklin? Thank you all. Thank you for joining me this morning. I love Shirley Chisholm. I'm gonna type in real quick the title of this book, which if y'all didn't see it, I normally have it typed with the other readers, but it's Shirley Chisholm is a verb. And I want to point out again, this book is available at the library. The library is open for pickup. And with many of the books that our readers are reading today, they are available for you to pick up at the library. So you can give us a call or you can send us an email at askalibrarian@pensaukenlibrary.org and we can get the book for you, place it on place the book on hold, and one of the library staff will give you a call and let you know it's ready for pickup. So this book, among all the books that we read today, are available at the library. I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm going to pause for 1 second. I want to get ready for our next reader. So if you stay tuned for 1 minute, we'll have our next reader lined up in a few minutes. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. I did get a call that there is some that was what my phone was ringing before I'm sorry I put my phone on silent, but that was the phone call I got. So there is some technical difficulty that the schools are experiencing right now. So I hope they'll be back up. But we're gonna keep the show rolling. This video is being recorded. So you can and it will be on our YouTube channel. So if you have not subscribed to our Pennsauken Free Public Library YouTube channel, you can do so today. And this video will be up there. So if y'all did not have a chance to view this, this portion of the reading or any of it today, it will be a chance to see the live recording. It will be on our YouTube page, on our YouTube channel. So you can watch it anytime you like. Actually, it'll be up there. So we're going to keep the ball rolling, and we're going to I'm going to introduce our final reader, which is Diane Johnson. And she's reading to our pre-K. So I'm going to add Ms. Johnson to the broadcast. Hi, Ms. Johnson.
Hello.
Welcome to the broadcast. Welcome to Readers Are Leaders.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. And hi, everyone, especially my pre-K students. I hope you will enjoy this book. And we're going to be talking about Black is a Rainbow Color, written by Miss Angela Joy. And this is Black History Month. And so we're emphasizing the importance of being proud of who you are. So let us start. Black is a rainbow color. Red is a rainbow color. Green sits next to blue. Yellow, orange, violet, indigo. They are rainbow colors too. But my color is black, and there's no black in rainbows. Black is a crayon tangled in a box. Black is a feather on white winter snow. Black is the dirt where the sunflower grows, and this is black. Black are the braids in my best friend's hair. And see her braids? Black are the bottoms of summertime feet. Black are soft circles that spin down the street. My color is black. Black is a rhythm, right? Music, the beat, the sound. Black is the blues, and that's another form of music that's known by Black entertainers. Black is sidewalking, the sidewalk we walk on. In spit shine shoes, right? Shiny black shoes. Black is the robe of Thurgood Marshall, our first Black Supreme Court justice. Black are the trains on railroad tracks, right? These are the tracks. Have you ever ridden a train, right? And these are the tracks. Black are the eyes on salted peas. Is anybody familiar with black-eyed peas, right? It's a little pea, and it has a little black spot. Black are the shadows of old magnolia trees, right? Are you familiar with your shadow? When you're walking down the street and you can see something in front of you, it sort of looks like the shape of you, and it's ahead of you, depending on what time of the day is, and the other part of the day is behind you. Black is molasses from tall sugar cane, and that's a plant where sugar comes from, and it's called sugar cane. Black is soft singing. Music notes. Hush now, don't explain. And this is Billie Holiday, a well-known singer from our past. Black is the skillet for bread to fry. And that's a pot that your mom may use on top of the stove to cook. See, like, well, this is the pot top for a skillet. Black are dreams and raisins. Are you all familiar with raisins, a fruit you eat? Left out in the sun to die, and that's a grape when it starts out green or red, and then it shrivels up and it becomes a raisin. Black is the color of ink staining page. And most of the time when you're reading your books, the writing is in black. Black is the mask that shelters his rage. Black are the birds in cages that sing. Little blackbirds, little blackbirds. And here are the cages. Black is a color. Black is a culture. And the culture are about Black people like some of us. And also, this is the color black. Black is a history. Black is a family. Black is a memory. Black is a community. And a community is where we all live together. Black is the love that lives inside of me. And when you love your mom, you love your dad, your sisters, your brothers, my color is black. And here's a family sitting with their mom, and she's reading to them. Black are the stones bearing witness to prayer. And prayer and black is the faith in a freedom not seen. And these are the elders in a church, right? Your grandmom, your grandfather, aunts and uncles, right? The people who teach you and work with you to let you know how important you are and how important it is to be proud of who you are. We have dreams. We have a dream. Black was the man who gave the world his dream. Black is a color. Black is a culture. And do you know who this man, who this picture represents? Are you familiar with Martin Luther King? He wrote that famous speech, I have a dream, but we all have dreams, right? The dreams to become proud, important citizens of the world, right? To grow up big and strong and to do whatever you want to do. I am a man, equal rights, Black Lives Matter. Did you see the news this summer? Have you paid attention? Have you noticed all that has gone on and how laws are being changed and new rules are being made, right? That's what Black Lives Matter is all about. Black is the heart of a candle and flame. Black is the power of movement in pain. Black are the branches that carry my name, weaving, wrapping, lifting, laughing, hoping, grasping, quiet, strong. Our color is black. So you see, there is no black in rainbows, no black in green or blue, but in my box of crayons, black is a rainbow too. Wow, we went too fast. Okay, so also Black is a rainbow color playlist. Songs like Homeless, Lift Every Voice and Sing. Have you heard that one? The Black Anthem. Blowing in the Wind by Bobby Dylan. A Change is Gonna Come by Sam Cooke. Say It Loud, I'm Black and Proud, James Brown. To Be Young, Gifted and Black by Nina Simone. What's Going On by Marvin Gaye. Someday We'll All Be Free by Donny Hathaway. Shining Star, Earth, Wind and Fire. Blackbird by Dion Farris. Glory by John Legend and Common. I know that you're all young, but hopefully you've heard some of these songs. You may not have thought about it, but listening to the radio and your mom and dad playing music, you may have heard those songs. But the story or the purpose of this book is to let you know that you are Black, beautiful, and proud, and that you all can grow up to be who you want to be. And it doesn't matter whether you're Black, white, Vietnamese, Indian, but it's all this is saying is that whoever you are, you should be proud of that, regardless of your complexion. So I hope you've enjoyed this story. This is also a book from the library. And remember, the title is Black is a Rainbow Color, right? And it's as pretty as all the other colors. And I hope you've enjoyed this book. And also, like I said, you can ask your mom or dad, sisters or brother, if you really enjoyed this book, to go to the library and pick it up. All right, they can call and get it. And again, does anyone, I like again say thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this book. And if you have any questions, I would be glad to answer them. Anyone?
Thank you, Diane. Hi. I'm just gonna check the comments. I actually love that book. Black is a Rainbow Color, and as Diane pointed out, that book is available at the library. We are open for pickup and for limited services. So if you're interested in checking out that book, if you want to ask your, caregiver, parent, guardian, grandparent, whoever asked to come to the library, all you need is a library card. Of course, the library card is free. Just call us, or if you can also place the book on hold online by going to our website, pensaukenlibrary.org, and clicking on the catalog link on our new website. So you can actually search for the book and then place the book on hold, and we'll call you when the book is ready for pickup. I'm just going to check the comment page. I have noted that there's a 10 or 20-second delay on Facebook and YouTube, and this is what happens when you stream live. So we'll just wait a few more minutes to see if anyone have any comments or questions about the story, or about want to ask a question to Miss Johnson. I do have a lot of thank yous, Diane. Thank yous for the story. And I know there was some technical difficulties at
Really still?
at the school. So they still may be working that out. But if not, who are still out there, that's been with us all morning, thank you again.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, I liked someone, Michelle said, I think that the color Black contains all the colors.
It does.
I like that. Thank you for Miss not Warner, but Wayner pre-K class school. Hello from Frying School. Hello, Franklin School.
Hi, everybody.
Gonna wait a few more seconds to see anyone have any comments or questions before we wrap it up. this morning. This was a great 2 days, everyone. And like I said, I want to thank all my readers, leaders, and my future leaders out there. Thank you for celebrating Black History Month with us these last 2 days. It's been fantastic to share the joy of reading with you all. And we hope to see you all next year. Hopefully,
person, right?
we all miss you here at the library. We all miss all your faces at story time. And I know I had mentioned, I know Miss Sabrina, Miss Susan, Miss Myra, and Miss Heather all miss you
Right.
at all programs. I miss you. And we just, hope next year we could all see you in person.
Right. And I miss visiting you at the schools and seeing you in all your programs, right? It's been a long year. All the plays and the musicals. Hopefully we'll be doing that soon.
So right before we close out, I do want to share a program that we are having this Saturday. I'll pull it up on my screen. I think y'all can see it. So this Saturday, we're having a virtual storytelling event with Marilyn Lark. And it's Saturday, February 27th at 11 o'clock. So right here, there, if you want to register for the event, there's the number 856-665-5959. You could press extension 3, or you can register online by using this tiny URL. It's tinyurl.com/MARLARKE. So Miss Lark will be reading the children's book Graham's Gift by Joyce Mosley. So that is going to be held this Saturday at 11 o'clock. So I hope you could join us for that. Oh, someone said they can. That's great. We also doing this Thursday. We're doing for Black History Month. We're doing a trivia night at 6:30. I think. I believe it's at 6:30. This I believe it's this. I'm sorry. It is this Thursday, February 25th at 6:30.
6:30.
Yes. So I'm actually, if y'all give me a few minutes, I'm actually gonna I'll put that flyer up too as well. Just bear with me, everyone. So I'm gonna pull that up, and this is gonna be this Thursday. So Trivia Night, Black History and Culture will be this Thursday, February 25th at 6:30. Come join us and test your knowledge of Black excellence through history, pop culture, and more. If you want to be if you want to be a contestant, you do have to pre-register for the event. The link is right there to register. Or if you don't want to be a contestant, you just want to be on the sidelines and just enjoy the fun, we will be streaming this live on Facebook. That's always another option. I have found I'm not hosting this one, but I have hosted ones in the past that sometimes it's the ones on streaming live, the ones on Facebook seem to answer the questions along with the contestants. So it's like sometimes it's double fun. It's double fun. So thank you very much. I just want to share those upcoming events to continue our celebration for Black History Month and to continue our celebration of Black history all year round. The library has a lot of books and literature and information and resources on Black history. We have a lot of online databases, InfoBase. We actually have an Afro-American online database through InfoBase because I know a lot of students are doing reports. So just keep that in mind also. And like I said, I believe Black history is 365 days a year. So we have all these resources at the library, books, and all the books read for the during the readers and leaders yesterday and today are available at the library. So I do believe we should celebrate everyone's history 365 days, everyone's history. Okay, so I think that's about it. Diane, thank you for staying on. um, this is it for our event. I see everybody else again. And enjoy the rest of your morning. And until next time, please keep reading. And everybody stay safe and see you next year. Bye bye.